Hey, what's up? I'm Diamond and welcome back to my channel, Diamond Star. Today I'm going to be answering the question that I believe everybody who has applied to college or everyone who is going to apply to college has, and that is, does GPA matter? And the answer to that question is honestly, yes, it matters. But is it the end all be all? Not really, if you know what I mean. But before I get into the video, as always, please make sure that you hit the like button if you like the video. Also make sure that you comment down below any questions that you may have about a college application process, about college life in general, or just video suggestions that you would like for me to do. If you don't want to put it down below in the comment, you can always DM me on my social media and I'll be happy to answer those questions for you. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe to join the Diamond family, and also so you don't miss any more videos that I upload about everything college. Back to GPAs. It is important that you have the GPA that you need to be able to meet the requirements to be able to apply to different colleges and universities and scholarship programs and things of that nature. But other than that, having a good GPA looks good, and that's about it. I found that a lot of people have this idea of GPA confused. I used to think that I had to do well in my classes so I could have a high GPA. Even though that is true, it kind of misses the mark. Actually, the mindset that we should have as students is that our GPA is high because we do well in our classes, as if a high GPA is a byproduct of us doing really well and not a goal of ours. Now, if I just lost you, let me explain. Academically, everything is not centered around GPA. Actually, everything centers around our transcript, which features our GPA, among a few other important things that college admissions officers look at. Most importantly, your transcript goes into detail of what classes that you actually took and which classes you did well in. If you have a high GPA, it shows that you've done really well in your classes, but it fails to show which classes you've done well in. So you could have taken classes known to be a little bit easier over classes known to be more challenging. And just looking at GPA alone, no one can ever tell the difference. So for example, if a university was looking at your transcript over another student's transcript, and they see that both of you guys have the same GPA, but one person went up to pre-algebra and you went up to Calc 4, which one looks best to them and which one do you think they would choose over the other? Also, your transcript shows when you took certain classes and what your class load was when you were completing that course. I see this being helpful in one of two ways. It can show that you have a heavy course load and you were still able to maintain academic excellence throughout your term and balance the workload from each of your classes. Also, it can show and give a little bit of an explanation of why maybe one or two classes slipped one semester or one term, because it can show that you was taking a course load of demanding classes at once. Just as a side note, if you feel that one of your semesters or one of the grades in your classes could have been better and you feel like you need to explain and you have a good explanation behind why your grade is what it is, your personal statement is a great place to do that. Just you gotta make sure you know how to spin your story just right so it'll work in your favor. Another thing too is that classes weigh differently on GPA than others. For example, I believe like a C in an AP class looks like an A or B in a lower level class, and that can be just misleading to admissions counselors like scholarship program officers who are trying to decide between two students who to get a scholarship to, who to accept and admit, when just looking, well, if they only looked at your GPA alone. Lastly, I've been told by admissions counselors that one of the main things that make GPA even more unreliable is the fact that there are so many scales. I know there are scales ranging from a 4-point scale all the way up to a 100-point scale, and because schools have different rules about how classes weigh into the GPAs, and because GPAs can be so different from school to school and from student to student, it can be hard to compare students by their GPA alone. And because admissions counselors have to read through thousands of applications each year, I would assume that it was easier for them just to pick up a transcript and see what goes actually into the GPA that the student has versus just looking at GPA and making a decision. Now, because the GPA leaves out a lot of important details needed to build a strong case for accepting a student, I as a student would not heavily rely or solely rely on my GPA to get me into the school that I want to go to. With that being said, I would put more of my focus into taking meaningful classes and doing well in those meaningful classes instead of taking unmeaningful classes just because they're easy and you know you'll do well in them. And I just want to make sure that you keep in mind that there's more that goes into a college application than just what your GPA is. There's test scores they look at. They look at your personal statement. They look at your extracurricular activity. They look at your resume. There's so much more they look at over your GPA that works with your GPA and it complements your GPA. Your GPA should complement it. Well, this is all that I have for this video. Please make sure you like the video if you like the video. Also like the video if you found it helpful. Make sure that you comment down below any questions that you may have about the application process or about college in general, or any video suggestions that you have for me. Lastly, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any more college videos, and most importantly, so you can become a part of the Diamond family. For now, I am Diamond Star, and I'll see you in the next one.